Yo, what's poppin'? We're back here with the NA reviews for day two. There's two elimination games here and two winners games. Today, very crazy. There are every time the lower seed actually won. So spoiler there, the lower seed won every single time. So first up, seventh seed Atlanta reigned 3-3 at a +1 against the first seed San Francisco Shock 6-0 with a +13. Atlanta beat uh, Florida to get here. It ends up being not a 3-1 for Shock. It ends up being a 3-1 for Atlanta. Not even a map 5. So Ilios 2-1 Atlanta. I missed half the map, but from what I saw, Venom was going crazy, and Atlanta were in control the whole time pretty much. And Shock just kind of looked lost because I almost saw about half of it, and Atlanta just looked better. So no complaint there, but whatever. We're going to Kings Row. 3-1 victory for Atlanta. New York comes in for Venom. Hawkins in for Gator, and Kilo comes for Sam. Atlanta's offense, they're playing Soldier, Genji, Duron, Lucio, and Shock is playing May, Soldier, Ryan, Bap, Lucio, trying to get under the Atlanta Rain skin maybe, or genuinely thinking it's a better composition into them. But doesn't really work. Shock's kind of C9A, and Atlanta's just kind of running through Shock. Chloe swaps over to the Winston, Finn swaps Ana, Sam tries to stay on for a Blizzard, but Atlanta don't care. Nero deflects the Blizzard, and they just keep trucking. Sam swaps over the Echo, but it just doesn't matter. Atlanta steamroll and end the map with 346 in that time bank. Move on to Shock's offense. They're playing Reaper, Tracer, Doom, Moira, Lucio, and Atlanta's playing Soldier, Genji, Doom, Mono, Lucio. And Shock's not really getting anything done. I think Hawk's playing very well, and Kalush is just not getting it done. He's going down often, and it's not a great look for Shock. Sam goes over to Genji, and Shock finally make it through A, and they end the B with 4 minutes. So I mean, like 2 minutes on A, which isn't that bad. UV swaps over to the Moira. Sam gets 2, but Finn goes down. Shock have to reset, and it's just not great. Hawk punches Finn out of Cole, but Shock were already down, so I think the Cole was kind of bad anyway. Hawk also gets Ajax's off on Violet this map, and the last one, I believe. So Shock's just really struggling to get anything going here. Atlanta's setting the tempo, and Shock are really playing right into Atlanta's hand. I wouldn't take the Doom Mirror against Atlanta, to be honest. Not if unless you have ways around it. And this is definitely Shock's worst look of the whole season right now. Moving on to Dorado, it's a 1-0 victory for Shock. Venom comes back in, Gator comes in, and Kilo comes in. So Atlanta's offense, they're playing Widow, Tracer, Winston on a break. Shock, the only difference being a Genji. Atlanta's playing very slowly, and there's basically one fight for 2 minutes, and just nothing's happening. Atlanta's still kind of setting the tempo, but they're setting it to like not doing anything, and Shock are happy to play that game, especially on defense. In the end, Kai kills Violet, and proper trades for the backline. Atlanta kind of C9, but the fight wasn't really won, so it's on. I don't know if they would have won it anyway, but yeah, not a great look from Atlanta, and Shock were looking good. I think it was very poorly thought out from Atlanta, but it's also a mix of Shock playing good. I don't know why I have my headset on. That anyway, Shock's offense, they just kind of roll. They win a fight and they roll through. So Atlanta would just AFK basically and waiting for Shock to either like spontaneously combust or int into them and be impatient or something. And it wasn't a good look. And I was like, oh, let's Shock back into the series. And you never want to do that. Washington did the last series, and they just let them in. But it's okay. Coliseum comes out. New York comes in for Venom. Hawk comes in for Gator. Both teams running Soldier, Hanzo, Zarya on a Lucio. We haven't seen Shock play that much Zarya, but here they are. There's like nothing happening. Shock had a slightly, but it was whatever. Atlanta moving up, back and forth. It's Rush is. Atlanta ended up being in the lead, and Shock have to make the overtime push and make a pretty solid push. But on that last fight, they just ran out of vaults, and Atlanta stopped the reverse sweep from happening. Very close, decently close map. I wouldn't say it's extremely close. It wasn't a nail biter, but it was close enough that you could believe that Shock could win the map. And Atlanta just looked like the better team overall. Shock not looking like they're like themselves. They kind of got it together, but it was a little too little, too late. And Atlanta won the only close map, really, because all the other ones were kind of blowouts for the winning team, except for Coliseum. Hamilton played the match going over to Hawk, canceled somebody else, played a really strong game, and he matched Shock. When it finally turned on to Heat, he was there and he was ready to fight back. Before I go on to the next series, I want to say give the video a like, hit a subscribe. I'm uploading content every day, pretty much. Doing reviews, doing previews, discussions, news. I'm just doing the whole owl spectrum, really. Uh, really kind of swag. Moving on. Before I'm also going to say that my notes are not that great today. I'm kind of speedrunning because I want to go to bed. But if you like this style more, let me know. Or if you like the longer ones, maybe because I don't know how long this video is going to be, but it took 5 minutes to do the first series. So um, yeah. So anyway, moving on to this one. This was a 3-1 victory for the Gladiators. The third seed Gladiators 4-2 with the +7. It's the second seed Dallas Fuel 5-1 with the +10. I do have Gladiators taking this whole bracket, but I had them losing here and I had them making the lower bracket. They don't even care. So we get a winners upper bracket tomorrow of Atlanta Gladiators, which I don't think very many people predicted, and it's very exciting. And I love it whenever these kind of upsets happen. It kind of shifts the whole worldview of what to expect in Owl. Because a lot of times, like, oh, this team beats this team. It's just so obvious, and we thought it was going to be like that in this season, but it's just not. And that's how you know that the competition is actually good. It's actually pretty even, and it's a really nice thing to see from Owl. Anyway, Elysium Towers 2-1 victory for Glads. They're playing Kevster, Patafan, Reiner, Shu, and Funny Astro. Dallas playing Edison, Sparkle, Hanbin, Fielder, Chio. Guardians have 100-0 to victory for Gladiators. They're coming out on Soldier, May, Ryan, Bap, Lucio, and Dallas are coming out on Reaper, Echo, Zarya, on Lucio. But after the first fight, Gladiators swap over to the May, Ryan themselves. And Gladiators just don't really let Dallas into the map. It's all Gladiators all day, and they're setting the tempo, they're setting the pace. They look like they know how to play the Ryan comp much better, and they end up winning the map pretty decisively. Moving over to Night Market, Dallas ended up winning this map 100-46. Gladiators sticking with the Ryan, Dallas moving over to the tried and true Zarya comp. This time it's Dallas's turn to really do the pounding. Glads get a fight basically, but other than the early cap and a fight, they don't get it, and it's pretty much all Dallas all day. And Control Center, 199 for the Gladiators, very close map. The Ryan's just rushing onto the Zarya, and it's making it harder for the Zarya to find value into the shield and harder to get around. Sparkle's going crazy, and there's lots of huge blades from him, but it's just not enough. As I believe that on the maps like Control Center, the run her just is much better than the Zarya, and like kind of counters it in a way. And maybe it's not much better, but into the Zarya, it's much better. The Cassie is an interesting pick instead of the Soldier. I don't know what the idea is there, but who knows? As soon as Hanbin's taking out, Dallas just kind of crumble to the Ryan comp, and he's not doing that much anyway. So just a very solid read on the meta for the Gladiators, and they have a lot of different looks in this match. Kevster had crazy good stats also, so he's doing a lot. Moving on to Kings Row, I don't have the score here, but Dallas ended up winning the map. I think it was 4-3 or 5-3 or something. Yeah, so Dallas won this map 5-4. Neither team knew how to defend. But anyway, no substitutions. Gladiators just kind of roll through A, and it looks like they found the answer. Dallas is Zarya with this Brown comp, and it's looking really solid. Dallas ends up committing a blade and grab to stabilize, but Gladiators otherwise are just kind of rolling through, and Hanbin is struggling to get anything done into the Rhine shield. And Dallas also decided to roll the offense, and they enter C with 430. And both these teams just don't know how to play defense, and Gladiators are really struggling to set tempo when they're on the defense. On the offense, they're setting it really well, but on the defense, they are not really setting it as they're not really walking into them or finding the engagements they want. Anyway, no notes here. Don't remember why, but Dallas won the map. They didn't knew how to defend. Dallas looked a little more cohesive and more in sync, and they seemed to better adapt what the Gladiators were doing on the defense. And it just seemed like the Gladiators really didn't know how they want to engage onto the Dallas field. Do they want to run at the Zarya as soon as they could? They want to kind of play it slow. Look for good walls. It wasn't really. I wasn't sure what their game plan was, and neither did they apparently. And the Gladiators and Dallas won this map. It's a pretty close map though. So, moving over to Watch Puncher Belter, Ons comes in for Patafan, Gurio comes in for Edison, and Fearless comes in for Hanbin. Which has to forget it, a Winston comp. So Gladiators playing Genji, Widow, Winston, Bap, Brig, or Ana Brig. That's not a Bap. It's an Ana. Dallas playing the same combo with Tracer instead. Ons is dipping Gurio, and Dallas is relying heavily on Fearless and Sparkle to really do anything. Ons is having a very good match, and Gladiators end up capping at no T, and it looked pretty good. So this does end up being a 3-2 win for Gladiators. I forgot to mention, I didn't write it, but Dallas make it through first with like a minute or so. She was hitting great nades, and Sparkle gets 2 on the exit, but Dallas ended up looking a step behind Gladiators this whole map. They come close to ending that third, but Guerrero really is not doing it compared to what Ons was doing, and Ons was doing some crazy stuff. And you cannot rely on your flex DPS and your main tank on Watch Punch Gibraltar. And the Gladiators knew exactly what they were doing coming into this. They believed that maybe Ons was the better player, and it looked true. Moving on to Coliseum, ends up being a 71-48 win for Gladiators. Reiner starts on the gateway. So Gladiators running Tracer Soldier Doom on a Lucio. Dallas running Tracer Soldier Zarya on a Lucio. Reiner swaps over to Winston, and it looks like he's getting like really pressured on the Doomfist. I think he goes back to it again, and it was kind of weird. The Dallas was making some odd mistakes. Their alt usage wasn't that crisp, and Gladiators just like was very flexible and adapting to what they were doing, and it looked like they were just a better team. It was very uncharacteristic. Some like really bad engagements. There was some interesting alts coming out from Dallas. I don't know. It wasn't peak Dallas, but maybe because the Gladiators were just mitigating everything they were doing, and they were really adapting to what was in front of them. So overall, Gladiators may be capitalizing on Dallas's predictability, finding the answers to what Dallas is doing, and executing it to a T. Dallas maybe not looking up to speed, some questionable decisions, and maybe from like that you wouldn't normally question, but because it's Dallas, you have to question. And Gladiators just seemed ready for what Dallas could throw at them. They reacted to whatever they were doing, and it's just a win match in the end. That player of the match for me is going to Runner. He was the key player when it comes to deciding how they're going to react and deal with what Dallas is doing, and reacting so well to what they were doing. It was just a centerpiece of the strategy, really, of taking out and like dismantling the Dallas composition, really, their playstyle. Moving over to Washington Justice against the Florida Mayhem. At the 8th seed Washington Justice, 3-3 with a 0 map differential against the 4th seed Florida Mayhem, 4-2 with a +7 map differential. I said 3 at Washington. This was my pred. It ends up being a 3-1 for Florida. So I said the lower seed wins every time. This is the one map it doesn't happen. I just lied at the start of this video. My bad. So Ilios, 2-1 victory for Washington. We see Happy, Assassin, Mag, Opener, Krillin, so no decay. And Florida playing Checkmate, Hydron, someone out above Shimmerjed. I believe I was eating food at this point, so I didn't really take any notes. But there was one time where Mag was jumping straight up in the air, and it was really funny. But this was pretty much all Washington. They just looked stronger in this mirror. Mag was getting big value. Assassin and Happy were playing well. Happy was playing really well, I thought. And Shimmerjed was not getting the big value off of his nades that maybe he could have. Or Washington was maybe capitalizing on it. But whatever it was, Washington had a really good first map. But it just kind of crumbles from there. Midtown ends up being a 4-3 for Florida. No substitutions come in. On Florida's offense, they're playing Soldier, Tracer, Winston, Luciana. Florida's playing Tracer, Soldier, Winston, Luciana, same mirror comp. No decay again. There will actually be no decay this entire series, so I'm not sure what he's doing. But he's not here. Hold on. So Washington's offense, Florida just kind of rolled through A and B. Florida playing forcing Washington to cut back, and they try to come back, but they just can't stabilize, so they just go through A. Onto B, someone's just pushing card through the underpass pretty freely. Mag Primals gets nothing. Washington's just flailing at this point. They're unable to stabilize to get any foothold, and Florida just keep going into C. Washington finally do manage to stop the momentum, but considering all things considered, and after entering C with so much time, they do stop them with Florida cap with 51 seconds, so they kind of drain the time bank, but it's not good enough if you're Washington. Hydron was going crazy on this map, and there's one time where Checkmate sticks Happy and he gets Nano to live, but it isn't enough because Checkmate cleans him up, and it was a great usage. Trading Pulse Bomb for a kill plus Nano Boost is kind of crazy. So Checkmate got huge value there. Moving on to Washington's offense. Washington, it's the same story, except they get held on A for a long time. And they barely squeaked by and kept them up in OT in the end. So it's just Washington barely squeaking by the entire time. They're maybe winning off a pop-off play in overtime. Happy has big nano visors, basically Banana Vice is what was getting them through most of it. But yeah, Washington were really struggling in that point A. Moving on to their 1 minute offense. Washington was playing very slow. Florida decides to take the initiative after one fight is guaranteed, and Washington just don't have the manpower to win after Matt goes down. Moving on to Florida's offense, 151. Assassin goes down early, and Florida just wins. So it was a very weird map. Florida was rolling into C, and then Washington was rolling except for at the start of A. Whenever Florida let Washington take the tempo, or whenever they let Washington take that tempo, Washington looked good whenever they were controlling it and they were playing fast, but they're falling back into the trap that they always do of playing too passively or too methodically or too reactive or however you want to say it. But they just don't look great with that kind of luck. Moving over to Watch Punch Gibraltar, it's a 4-3 victory for Florida. No substitutions again, so still no Decay. Maybe where is Decay? Is he benching himself? I have no idea where he is. But Assassin wasn't that good. Anyway, Washington's offense, they're playing Widow, Tracer, Winston, Bergana. Florida's playing Tracer, Soldier, Winston, Luciana. Not sure if this is true. That might be a lie. I was ordering food. Washington was finishing. I was ordering food and then I was eating food later. I don't know. I was whatever. But Washington finished the map in overtime, but it's a struggle. Florida's offense, we get the Widow, Tracer, Winston, Bergana. Florida playing Genji, Widow, Winston, Bergana themselves. And this is a lie, actually. This Widow is an Ashe, and the Happy Ashe is just I don't like it on the first point here. I think the Widow just provides so much value. Florida just kind of go through A, and they stagger. They get a little held on B as the Ashe kind of gets more into its ideal range, but Florida's still making the C with 406, so not really. And at this point, the Ashe pick is actually doing good work at this point. Hydron swapping over to Soldier, and Happy's hitting just nutty shots. They're kind of letting him free. I don't know if you have to switch over to Soldier here if you're Hydron, but Widow probably still does it. But it's whatever, because checkmate Blade and then someone finished at the map in overtime. And it's a great hold from Washington, considering that they got rolled in A and B to stop them in overtime, to minimize the damage to overtime. Is that crazy? Washington's offense, same stuff. Hydron diffs Happy though, and Sermajet hits a big nade, and Florida just hold up Washington at the top of the slope. And then Florida just come in, Hydron shoots dudes, Florida win the map, and now it's 2-1. But overall, pretty close map. Both teams barely finishing the map. And Hydron was going toe-to-toe with Happy, at times being better than him. I'm not sure about the Happy Ashe pick. It did look good on the third, but I don't know about it on first or second. And when Florida was letting the pace slow down, as Widowmakers do so often, I slightly give the edge to Washington there. Moving on to Calcio. I was eating my food. I was ordering it in this map, eating it in this map. Tangy Bang Bang Chicken went hard from Burgerito. That shit was busting. But it was standard monkey count mirror. Washington were in the lead until the last 2 minutes or so, and then they just kind of crumpled, and Florida just went out and let them win. It was very standard Washington gameplay. Summary. Washington looked like they'd be in top form after map 1, but it was just fraudulent. They never put in Decay. I don't know about that. They managed to squeak by. Pretty much every checkpoint was capped in overtime, and that's just not good enough. When you are if you have a bad defense, squeaking by in overtime is just not enough to actually win you these extra rounds. And it's certainly not good enough to try and win a tournament or make a deep run. So they end up losing to Florida Mayhem and being the first team to be kicked out with a kickoff flash. Time to play of the match goes to Hydron. He was going toe-to-toe with Happy. He was making pop-off plays. He was doing very well. And I was very impressed by Hydron. I personally wonder how much of a buff Xe will be if he arrives. Is Hydron better on Soldier? I think so. So I could see him. I still see him getting playtime, even when Xe arrives. And some people might not, but yeah, I think Hydron's been phenomenal for the Florida Mayhem. Moving over to the Toronto Defiant, the 6th seed Toronto Defiant, 4-2 with the +3 against the 5th seed Houston Outlaws, 4-2 the +5. I'm actually just still lying then. I didn't realize that Toronto were behind Houston. I thought they were in front of them. So only the winners finals had the lower seed teams win. My apologies. Jumping again a little bit. But this is actually a 3-1 victory for Houston. And this is just standard Toronto Defiant gameplay. Um, they come out on map one, they look strong, they look like they're going to bring it to them, and they just don't do it. So Lijiang Tower, Control Center, Toronto playing Finale, Aldo, Muse, Chorong, and Twilight. So no Hisu. Houston playing Pelican, Merit, Piggy, Iris, Lastro. Control Center, we get Toronto running May Soldier, Ryan, Lucio, Bap, and Houston running Cass instead of Soldier. But other than that, Ryan Mirrors, which is always fun to see. It's really nice to see Ryan getting some playtime here, and people realizing London was onto something maybe. And just I really I don't know, I don't care how it happens, but if Ryan is being played and Ryan actually ends up being a very influencing pick for whoever wins the kickoff clash, I'm giving part marks to London, bro. Maybe a little copying, maybe a little sharing notes. Um, but yeah, in this first map, I don't remember who won. Toronto take the first one. Toronto take the first round. They kept the first point. Used shatters, ammo, huge value off ammo. Iris played very well. I thought Mira played well. It was very close. I think. In the end, Ryan, Toronto do look a little bit better in the rank comps, in my opinion, on this first map. Just getting a little bit more value out of everything. I don't know about the cast pick. I feel like Soldier should just be better. The High Noon was all right. It was zoning them out, but then uh, they just kind of come back in, and you're missing the Soldier and the burst potential with the Helix. I don't know. And it's even like in the Baptiste, whenever the nade comes out from Cassidy, he just lamps it. It's so much easier than the Helix rocket to lamp. So I don't know about it. We're going to Night Market. Toronto playing Tracer, Soldier, Winston, Lucio, Ana. Houston playing Mason, Ryan, Bap, Lucio. Nally swaps with the Genji at some point, but Toronto were just unable to break past the Reinhardt on the Night Market. I believe that this was a pretty close match. Although swap over to Ashe, and I was so confused. I don't know why they're playing Ashe into this. There's no high ground. You're just getting ran at. As soon as he swaps Ashe, he gets walled and like dies. And I just don't. I don't know. I don't see the vision on the Ashe pick here personally. Um, you're just stuck. The coach gun's not going to get big value. So what are you playing for? Just Dynamite? You're just playing for Dynamite? Play Echo maybe? Pharah if you must, which they do on the next point and win. I don't know. The Ashe pick was just a huge question mark. We're going to Gardens, Toronto playing Pharah, Soldier, Winston, Mercy, Ana. Houston playing May, Soldier, Ryan, Baplucio, just trying to rush them down. The Pharah was a really big pick from Toronto here. It looked great. But yeah, just kind of a counter comp, I'd say here. The Pharah didn't really have any answers to the Pharah Mercy. And yeah, so overall, Toronto better than Houston on the rank comps on this map. I that Ashe pick is still blowing my mind. I don't know what I don't see the vision. I just don't see the vision. Going over the Icon Wall, Dante comes in for Piggy, so we're expecting Doomfist. Toronto's offense, they play Tracer, Genji, Winston, Lucio, Ana, no Soldier. Houston playing Tracer, Reaper, Doom, Moira, Lucio. Toronto kind of go through A. They build up 4 ults and they toss them away in the last fight so second last fight, they get picked and they have 4 ults. I'm like, oh, okay, they should just reset them. It's whatever. You can try and push us in an overtime. They say no, we're going to commit 4 ults to a losing fight and lose and have no ults in overtime now. And they do that, and it is just not good. I don't know. Just if it's not winnable, just circle back. It's okay. You don't have to commit, man. It was very tragic. Houston's offense, I don't think I read anything. Dante's getting huge values. Toronto's just kind of losing, man. Well, it's not finding antis against the Moira comp, and if that's the case, and you're getting inted on, just swap Moira yourself if you're not finding the big antis. That's the whole goal of Ana here. And I don't know. Twilight's not doing it for me. Something's missing. It's just maybe it's the aggression, maybe he's getting them and I'm not noticing, and Toronto's not capitalizing. Maybe Toronto's not setting him up, but whatever it is, it's just not the value from their Ana is not coming through onto the Moira, into the Moira comps anyway, and it's very uninspiring. It's pretty uninspiring from both sides, but very uninspiring for Toronto. Going over to Circuit Royale, Hisu comes in for Finale, Hopper comes in for Muse, and Piggy comes in for Dante. So we're getting started in Circuit Royale stuff. Toronto's offense, No, Houston's offense rather. Uh no, I don't know, man. Okay, so moving on. Houston offense. Um, it's just standard circuit rail. These are swapped, by the way. This wasn't for offense. You. So it's just standard circuit rail stuff, you know. They make it to the corner. It's fighting. There's some stuff. Piggy hits a flux. Maybe it doesn't bait as many cooldowns as it should. Hoppa hits a flux. It gets Houston really low, and Elbow cleans up, and they're winning fights around the corner. That was a good fight. But then next fight, Twilight has Trance, and Toronto aggro Trank onto Iris, and they get him. But afterwards, they just die. They just are blatantly out of position, and I don't think there was any need. You don't have that kind of comp that needs to run onto people. There's just no need to do that. I understand maybe you want to burn the Trank because you think you want to get value out of it before the next flex or something, but that was horrible. That's not the goal of your composition. It's a really poor understanding of how your composition actually works. Um, anyway, Houston's rolling through B now. Merritt gets these two huge picks on B, super clean shots. Rolls on to C. Merritt being one of the more underrated players in the league. I think he's had a phenomenal season for Houston. I just want to say that. He's just also really widow at this point, but there's absolute error on it. And Houston finished the map in overtime, so they do have a pretty considerable like time, like no time, but finishing the map at all. Circuit Royale, you don't see that every day. Uh Pelican hits a 6 stick and all though, by the way. The ego stick on Tracer duels. It was crazy. A very uninspiring defense from Toronto and just a very poor understanding of how you're playing your composition, to be honest. If you were even considering running onto the back line with Sigma, why? Why? I don't get it. Toronto's on their offense now. Uh, Toronto play Ashe, Farah, Winston, Mercy, Ana, and the Ashe turns into a Tracer. Eventually, Houston playing May, Sim, Ryan, Bap, Lucio. Maybe that Ashe doesn't turn into. I don't remember. It doesn't matter. Hoppa is jumping onto the enemy Ryan and falls over. And although it gets a 55-second barrage, and that allows him to break the first corner, but it's just the first corner to have to use barrage. So you maybe want to hold that. It's whatever. Hisu hits a massive flank under and over to the high ground behind Houston as they try to move out. But Houston turn and Toronto just don't capitalize on it. They're just standing there as they're going back for Hisu, and Hisu ends up dying, and it just doesn't work. And then they're just held there the entire time while they're on that bend. And I do not know why Hoppa stays Winston the entire round. We know that doesn't work. It just doesn't work. You want to play Zarya, you want to play Sigma. The ultimates they bring have so much higher potential of getting around that incredibly difficult to break bend, that final corner. And it's just a very poor showing from Toronto on their map selection. Why play Winston? I get you're into a Ryan comp maybe, but like that doesn't make any sense. You're not diving past him. You can't. It's too far. It's blatant misunderstanding of how the comp needs to be played on defense and how the offense is played. And this is disheartening. We move on to Coliseum. Toronto was in the lead the whole map basically, and Houston make a crazy push in the end. And Pelican kills like legit 7. I'm not kidding. He pretty much killed 7, and he is just not missing on his Hanzo pick. And that's the defining play. There's nothing more to be said. They have the star player in Pelican. They get the checkpoint first. They're in the lead. It's looking good. They have ults. Pelican does not care. He just shoots you in the head. So overall, Toronto, once again, first map Andes, winning the Koth map, doing well on the Koth map, and then do Oxygen the next 3. Specifically, that Circuit Rail was just the worst gameplay we've seen so far in the Countdown Cup. Or I'm not even saying the right tournament. The kickoff clash. I'm gone. I'm gone. This Toronto makes me too distraught, bro. And there's not a lot to say about Toronto here. I didn't do a player of the match. It has to be Pelican. He killed 7. He just killed 7. It's just Pelican. I gotta make a video on Toronto Defiant. These guys got me messed up, bro. Oh, okay. Anyway, yep. Like the video, subscribe. Give it a big fat thumbs up if you hate the Toronto Defiant because they don't know how to play the game. And yeah.